DBOG has a big problem. And no, it's not the lack of updates. This video isn't about how we waited for years to get an update, because the game is going back on track. Recently, the ownership of the game got changed, which resulted in the game getting updated more frequently. And this is a good thing. Honestly, I wish this happened 3 years ago instead of now. The game was at its peak in popularity back then. The game used to average 4,000 players daily. But something wrong had to happen, and here we are now. The very hard part of owning a game is maintaining it, but they failed to do so. I have been making content about this game since it came out. I have around 190 videos about this game. 190 videos that barely average any views because someone decided to not update the game for 3 years. I was crazy grinding this game 3 years ago. Sadly, I grow up to a point when I can't grind like I used to. Anyways, I have grown with this game since day one, and I witnessed the ups and downs. If anyone has every right to criticize this game, then it will be me. And I will be doing so for the sake of the game, not for the views or the attention. This game barely brings any views to my channel to begin with, yet I continued making content about it for years, even when it was barely updating or barely anyone making content about it. And sadly, I wasn't getting appreciated for sticking up to this game for years at all, because I keep criticizing the game with my honest opinions about it. I also do praise the game and list the positives, but these don't get looked at. The game has always been bad at receiving criticism. They don't receive it with an open mind and a positive way. That's why the game went downhill, because they didn't listen to the people. Over the years, the game management was awful. The game management was always bad. One thing the game really bad at is listening to the community. Other games like Dragon Soul always listens to feedbacks and suggestions from the community. Before every update, they do polls to see what the community wants. It's a reason why the game Dragon Soul is very successful so far. Meanwhile, Dragon Ball Online Generations has been ignoring the community for like 3 years. And even before these 3 years. But hopefully this can change with the new ownership. So about Dragon Ball Online Generations' biggest problem. It's a problem I have been mentioning since the game launched in 2020. This problem isn't easy to explain, so keep up with me. I will try to explain it with these questions. When the game releases a new accessory or a new move or a new outfit or a new weapon, do you care? Would you get out of your way to get them? Would you grind for them? Would they make you join the game? Would they hype you up and grab your attention? If the answer is yes, then I apologize and I'm wrong. If the answer is no, then keep watching. I actually did a poll about this just in case. The majority voted, I don't care. And in this video, I will explain why. It's a problem that affects the game long term. Just like how I asked, do you care when the game adds new moves? If you don't care, then the game is doing something wrong. It inflates itself all the time with unwanted stuff. I'm not saying adding new moves is bad. What's bad is when and how they add them. The game has a bad habit. A habit of making a million move, a million race, a million fighting style, a million of everything. They work on and stack up things players got tired of or don't want. And then, when it comes the time to rebalance stuff, they will take ages to do so because of how many unnecessary stuff they add. Basically, they have the mindset of quantity over quality, and they like inflating their game with stuff no one asks for. The mindset of quantity over quality is what destroying the game in the long run. But here I won't use the word quantity. I will use the word inflation because it's what the game does to itself. The games spend a lot of time on things we don't care about or even want. It has been the case for the past 3 years. They actually spent 2 years of them working on moves and rebalancing them. Meanwhile, the average player only wants new content and progression. But they never understood this and kept on working on stuff no one really cares about. This time, I won't mention the races as an example. Like how we have races based on characters that nobody cares about. And how these developers are wasting their time on races that nobody uses. The game has many examples of inflation and quantity. Some things would be very good and cool if only it wasn't inflated. We'll give examples. Fighting styles. In the past 3 years, they added a bunch of fighting styles instead of actual content. As if we would be hyped for them when there is already a million fighting style. It's like giving someone a salad when he wants a cake. But guess what happens when there are a million fighting style? They lose value and hype. They become meh. They lose its taste. As I said, some things are only cool when there isn't a million of them. Yet they continued working and adding things we don't care about. I can already assume some will take what I said out of context. Meanwhile, I'm just giving examples here, and more examples are coming ahead. This video can be an hour long if I list everything, and I'm not exaggerating. Another example of inflation, power-up moves. The idea is cool and I like it, but guess what happened when the idea got implemented? They inflated it with stuff that nobody uses, of course. Beside the fact how 90% of them are not good or don't get used. Some of these power-up moves makes me wonder why they exist. It's like they are there to be there, aka filler. So what else is inflated in this game? Everything. Yes, you hear me. Everything. They straight up downgrade everything when they release a million thing of it. They take a cool idea, add 2 cool things to it, then they inflate it with garbage. They think having a million of one thing is a good thing. Especially the moves. There are like 700 moves or something that nobody uses. Most of them are the same, like reskins or slightly different animation. They take one cool category and inflate it as much as possible till it loses its value. For example, instead of making 10 cool moves, they rather make 100 moves that you can't tell apart. Yes, some moves are cool, but the game treats stuff like adding one piece of meat in a huge bowl of salad. To be honest, I might be wasting my time making this video and trying to explain. I am talking about a problem that you can't just simply point out or tell. It reached a stage when it's very hard to fix.